Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Roast here with Jessica Bun. This is our reaction and review for Sugar Season 1, Episode 7. To quote another great alien-related show, the truth is out there. We now very much understand that John Sugar is an alien. Jess called that at the start of the season, and now we can really dive into what's going to happen to all these people. Are the aliens not only about to go home metaphorically with John Sugar injecting himself, but are they actually going to go home?
Yeah, I mean, this episode feels very much like one of two things are happening here. Either we've got the higher ups are like, nah, you guys are all coming home, like mission over, get everybody, we're all going home. Or they're telling John that they're all going home, but really just John is going home because John is the one that they think is kind of out of control. Because we'll dive deeper into it, but they all had a meeting about going home. It's like, oh yeah, here's the information. We're all going home like tomorrow, but John's not invited to it. It's just kind of like, I don't know. It feels like they're setting him up to be like, oh yeah, bud, we're all going, but really it's just you.
Well, we're going to get into that. We're also going to talk a lot about Olivia. We have that question mark. John's opening up what seems to be her compartment. Is she still there? What's going on with her? Before we go any further here, though, if you guys enjoying this video, be sure to subscribe because we will be back to discuss the finale, which I am very curious about how much closure we're going to get, if there's going to be any sort of cliffhanger. And by subscribing, you guys help us to be able to continue to make these videos for you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed. It really does help us.
Okay, put on our tinfoil hats, everybody,
All
because
right.
there's going to be a lot of this in this video. But you mentioned the meeting with everybody without John Sugar there. I think there's a couple of different things that are happening. Either this is a situation where maybe all of these aliens have like a hierarchy where, oh, you're a grade A alien, oh, you're a grade B, you're not as high up on the food chain, but you're pretty high up. Maybe John just didn't have the security clearance to be in that meeting, or
To know he's going home tomorrow.
you can tell him later.
Oh my
We had a meeting earlier. You go, or it's either just that this may be more in line with a little bit of him not being invited to the party. They're just like, okay, he's too emotionally compromised to make any sort of situation on any decision on all this now. So he's just gonna go sit in the corner. We're gonna tell him what to do, and then we're just gonna drag him out of here, even though he's gonna try to put up a fight about it.
I feel like they're setting him up, that they're just going to send just him home and then the mission is going to continue on without him. That he has been in there compromising some bigger mission that's going on. And I think they all met up to be like, okay, so the higher ups have asked that John's going to go, but we're just going to make it seem like we're all going so that he's not going to fight it and take off or whatever. That it's more of a, you're not getting in trouble. We're all going home. Mission's just over, because they think if they tell him you're in trouble, you're going home, that he's just going to be like, no, no, I've decided I'm staying. And then they're going to be on like a wild goose chase looking for him. So let's talk about Henry. Because at this point, Henry's really sus to me. We
Okay.
had talked in our last video about Miller, about Vickers, and about Henry, that they're like, you know, these three other people that we just don't really know a ton about, but it felt like maybe one of them could be the person really behind all this. After this meeting, I'm looking at Henry, and the biggest reason I'm looking at him is this whole show has been about, let's get Sugar off this case. He can't be looking for Olivia. There's something bad is going to happen if he finds her or keeps on with this case.
Yeah.
What is it? He walks into this meeting that he didn't know about, that he wasn't invited to. And Henry walks in being like, hey, I just found out about this Olivia thing. They just gave me her address of where she is. So I've decided that I'm just going to give it to you because we're all going home anyways. And I was just like, okay, stop. First of all, if Henry is the person with the address, then he has to be somebody that's higher up. Nobody just gave him the address and he's a lower level alien. They're just like, oh, by the way, we've had Olivia the whole time. Here's the address. You know, keep it for no reason. We give it for no reason. It's too much of a coincidence. Secondly, he said it in front of all the other aliens in that meeting. and nobody said boo. Not one person was like, maybe we should take care of Henry. Henry's gone off the rails. He said it with enough authority that it feels like he had this address the whole time. He knew about this the whole time, and he's higher up, so nobody's going to tell him no.
Okay. I am about to do, this is just me doing about all the reaching that I'm about to do and everything I'm about to say when it comes to Henry. Well, I guess first I would like to issue an apology to Miller. I'm sorry. I thought you were the bad guy. I was like 93%. The other 7% went out. So I'm sorry, you fictional character. Okay, now Henry.
Miller forgives.
Okay, good. As a fellow.
I just got the transmission.
Thank you. I didn't know you had such close contact with the aliens. My apparently being bald isn't enough to kind of have the synergy with Miller, but Henry. Okay, here's what's going on with you, Mr. Henry. One of the things that was really interesting about this episode is that Sugar kind of feels like the longer that he's on Earth, the more he's feeling less and less like himself. Like he feels his personality changing. He feels things changing about him. I agree with what you threw out there, that there's something very, very odd about Henry just suddenly knowing where Olivia is, saying it in front of all these other people, somehow having knowledge that he shouldn't really have if he's an alien on the level that he is. So, what I think is happening with Henry is, in the time in which he has been on Earth, he has been collecting a lot of information on people. He's been getting a lot of really, really shady stuff happening around him. And there's a lot of questions about unreliable narrators, I think, on this show. Who is telling us the truth? And I don't necessarily buy this idea that there's a lot of people who know the truth about aliens. I sort of buy that Olivia knows the truth about aliens. Henry, he may be many things. He may have gotten himself involved in a lot of stuff, but that doesn't mean he's a murderer, and he hasn't killed Olivia, obviously. But he has used whatever information he has to leverage it over other people, to have Olivia stored away. He's created this huge problem for himself that maybe the higher-ups know about it. Maybe it's because he's higher on the food chain. Maybe he just had to tell them for one reason or another, but I think he has found himself in a very precarious position where these aliens are very peaceful, because if he was causing this much problems for them and basically like telling their secrets, they could have just, I don't know, thrown him in the ocean, and they haven't done that.
Yeah, there's something further going on, because if Henry is like, oh, there's people that are humans that are higher up, a senator, they know our secret. So they know that
Yeah.
we're aliens, so we all have to leave. I understand that the sole reason for the aliens being there is to preserve their peaceful way of life. And that we've seen John really struggling with, anytime he has to beat somebody up, or now he's killed people, that he's really struggling with it, because that's something that the aliens, they're not about.
Yeah.
But then we've got Henry here, and him seemingly connected to, he's like, oh yeah, there's these people who are higher up, in government, senators, they know our secret and they're holding it over us. And I understand that they're a peaceful group, but then is this the better way to go about it then? To just be like, yeah, we'll let them continue on knowing what our secret is, and we'll just go home. We'll just trash the whole mission because these guys know about it and they're holding it over our heads. I feel like Henry has gone kind of rogue at this point, and that he's working with the people in power, whether it's the senator, he was working with the senator's son who was holding on to Olivia, whatever it is. I think I said this in the last video, that Olivia figured it out, that she had maybe been taken for other reasons, and she saw somebody in their true form, whatever it was, and now they just don't know what to do about it, because they're like, okay, well, we don't kill people, but she definitely saw somebody, or she saw something, so we don't know how to deal with it now, because she's not part of the crew. She's not part of helping Henry do whatever it is that he's doing, get more power.
She's too intertwined with the rest of the story now for her not to know. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, oh, these senators or these other people, because then it's just like, are these senators in the room with us right now? Like, where are these senators? Like, where are all these other people who supposedly know? Also, if you're a senator, you've already been to Area 51. You already know I'm kidding. But, like, it just, I feel like unless we actually physically see or hear from people on this show, or we're just getting this information secondhand, I don't trust secondhand information in the world of Sugar. And it's why I don't trust Henry anymore, just because he seems to be operating in a way that all these other aliens are not. Like, there was this line that was dropped in when Sugar was like going to visit him, and it was like, oh, he's very popular today. And yeah, they justified that in the story, but I also just kind of feel like, okay, has Henry been visited by even more people than we know? Is he mixed up in even more things than we know? I understand there's not exactly that much left of this season, but they could still have a much longer finale than these like 30 to 35-minute episodes. Like, there's still time to explain away things.
Yeah, and they may just be setting something up for a season 2 at this point, because there is only one episode left. So if Henry turns out to sort of be like the big bad alien, I mean, is one episode that's like 30 minutes enough to really tie it up? I don't think so. But it could then just be, Sugar really realizes he's on his own, and the one person he really trusts left, which is Henry, because he doesn't trust Ruby anymore. He doesn't trust
Yeah.
his boss anymore. He doesn't trust anybody. He really trusts Henry. If Henry is also a problem, then he's really on his own. Are we going to end up seeing a situation in the finale where the only person he could trust is a human, and it's Melanie?
That would be interesting. Like, that'd be really, really interesting, because then he's kind of confronted with, oh, I do need to tell somebody more of the truth.
Yeah, and then it gets more into the sort of secondary theme that's been going on with him, is a struggle of like, I still want to be the alien that I am. I miss being just genuine about who I am, but I'm also becoming a little more human the more time that I'm spending here on Earth. He's making these really close relationships, like with Melanie, with humans on Earth. I mean, he's sort of in this mid spot now of like, yeah, he's still an alien, but he's becoming more human, almost like an alien human hybrid.
I just want to say I really like what the show is doing, and I really think this alien twist has turned out to be very super interesting. It doesn't feel cheesy or hokey
No.
or spur of the moment. Like, we said some of this in the last video, but I think it's still playing out really well, because they also haven't forgotten about Olivia. I mean, they end the episode with, Sugar opening up the compartment, and we don't actually see Olivia in there, and that's why, this is a question for all of you in the comments and for you. Is Olivia actually in there?
I think she's probably in there. I mean, she's in there, or some of the women that Stallings was collecting are in there. But I think she's probably in there, because we did see that one very quick scene
Hmm.
of, somebody with a gloved hand opening something the same way, and she was in there. But I mean, I don't think he's going to say Olivia, and there's nothing in there that he looks in there. There's nothing there. And he's like, Olivia, like, I don't know.
I'm struggling with this, because I do think Olivia was in there. Like you said, we saw that scene with somebody opening it up. My fear is that that person ended up taking Olivia somewhere else, knowing that, Sugar may be closing in, and that there's going to be this wild goose chase in the finale. But I don't know if I want that, to be honest. I kind of actually want to spend some time with Sugar and Olivia together and see kind of what it is she
Yeah.
really knows. And in that sense, I would much prefer that Olivia is actually in there, and that part of it isn't the finale. Instead, the finale is more about how can the two of them stop whatever's going on here, so that Olivia's safe, and then John gets to live whatever alien life he wants.
I just think that if Olivia wasn't in there, then the security guard or senator's son, both, wouldn't
Yeah,
have reacted the way that he did. If there's nothing there and it's like, oh, you got this tip off that Olivia's here, search it. Search
yeah.
everything. Take a look. Oh, you want to go in the basement? Go right ahead. I just don't think there would have been a reason for him to like decide to attack Sugar or the hammer or any of that stuff when there's nothing in the house.
I just hope that they didn't kill Olivia at this point. After all of this, he shows up, he opens it, and then Olivia's dead. I will be so mad, because it's just like, I really want to know what Olivia knows beyond all of that. Okay, I need another layer of tinfoil for what I'm
Oh
about
my
to say.
goodness. Okay.
You mentioned this earlier. The aliens are there to preserve their peaceful way of life. I don't believe them. I think
Oh,
I don't think that they're necessarily there to just like invade Earth and like take over the planet. I'm not going that far with it, but I feel like preserving their way of life is really they're there sure to observe, but I think they're also there to collect. I think there's something on Earth that they needed in order to ensure that they can continue to live on whatever their homeworld is. Because beyond all that, like, why do you need to go to some other planet to preserve what it is presumably you're already doing? Unless something happened on your planet where it's like your alien race is dying out, or there's some sort of conflict and you need to get some sort of information from this planet or something from this planet in order to help you. And that's why I also really love this idea that a lot of these aliens, Sugar included, are being lied to about the real purpose of why they're there. Once again, I don't know if there's time to resolve all this, because then we get like inter-alien hierarchy conflict, and then we need like 4 more seasons of Sugar.
I think the thing for me that makes this show work as well as it does with this alien twist
Yeah.
that, other publications have been like, it's trash,
Yeah.
it sucks. It's like, no, it's really good. And one of the reasons that they've made it believable is because we've only seen him turn into this alien once in a
Yeah.
very intimate moment. We haven't seen any of the other aliens change, nothing. We saw like a weird typewriter, like the little bits that they're giving us, but still keeping it relatable because
Mhm.
they're all in their human form and they're all doing their day jobs. He's like, oh, I'm a PI, and Henry's a teacher, and so and so's what, we all have different jobs, because he tried to kind of tell Melanie without telling Melanie, be like, listen, like, I can't tell you what's going on, but like, if I did, you'd be in danger, I'd be in danger, everyone's in danger. She's just like, you're a spy. And it's kind of like, he kind of is,
Yeah.
I mean, he's down there observing other people, but not in the way that she thinks. And if that's their reason for being there, to preserve this peaceful way of life, then what is it that they need from this planet to make that happen? But if they go into a season 2 and this gets renewed and we get more Sugar, I don't need to go back to their home planet. I don't need them all
Yeah.
sitting around looking like aliens. The way that this works and why it works as well as it does is because we are able to relate to them because they are in human form.
I think this is what makes this show so great and so interesting, is that I think they will probably wrap up the Olivia story in the finale. Like, it feels to me like that's probably a one story thing.
Yeah.
However, I think moving forward, they are going to leave some of these questions open about these aliens and how they work, and they're going to give themselves flexibility to then explore some of this, that raise some other questions if enough people are watching this show, and you can throw another case in there. Like, I hope that regardless of what happens, I feel like the seagulls are probably going to be thrown away. We wouldn't see them again, but I think Melanie is somebody who I would like to see again, and I would like to see her relationship with Sugar really sort of explored a little bit more. It feels already to me like some of the seagulls are just kind of being casually written out in a way where a lot of what Bernie was up to and Margaret was up to was just a lot of, okay, my son did really terrible things. We're trying to make sure that that doesn't get exposed, and that was their motivation more than anything else. And now that Davy is dead, it's just kind of all done. And, Bernie was even talking to Jonathan and was just kind of explaining what Jonathan really feels when it comes to Olivia's disappearance. So we're already moving away from that, I think.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, the whole everything with Davy really just felt like it was the setup of how Stallings became involved with what happened with Olivia. Like, everything else, there's like the mystery of the dress and everything else, but it's kind of like, I don't really care what's going on with the seagulls at all. Like, I just care about what's going on with Sugar, what's going on with this crew of aliens, what's going on with Melanie, and what's going on with Olivia, and if she's, you know, really alive or not alive anymore. Like, yeah, we saw her alive under the stairs, but they lifted the stairs and they didn't show her. Why? Is that
Yeah.
because she's dead? Is she in there? Is she in a shadow? Is she not? Like, who knows, right? But the thing that I really like about Sugar as well, just sort of as a character, and what makes him so relatable, even though he's an alien,
Yeah.
is he almost feels like he's dealing with like imposter syndrome, where he's a human, but he's not. And he's trying to feel like he fits in, but he doesn't. But he wants to fit in and he feels himself changing, but he just always feels like he's on the outside looking in, but he's starting to change. And I think that that's a theme that just a lot of actual humans
Mhm.
feel that we don't really fit in anywhere and we're kind of in ourselves about that.
Yeah, I think he's mostly inherently a good person. He's obviously had some trouble when it comes to killing people as of late, but he's somebody who tries to want to do the best for other people, but he doesn't know where he fits. He doesn't really, I think, understand every part of himself on some level. And he ironically is much more human than a lot of the humans that are on this show. And that's probably an intentional thing. It's probably a way to sort of make us as viewers feel like, okay, we're not even that different from our friends beyond the stars, that we're all kind of one and the same. We have different ways of life, but it's just a really fascinating show and a good noir tribute at the same time. I'm already going to be sad after the finale, especially if this just ends up being the end of the show and they don't
I
bring any more
know.
back. But, it's been a great ride.
Mhm.
We'll see where everything goes from here, but of course, hit that box right there if you want to watch our Sugar episode 6 review where the alien reveal happens. Jess takes her victory lap. It was a whole lot of fun. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much to our patrons for your support. It means
Thank
the
you.
world, and we'll see you guys here next time.